Recently, news about mysterious holes has been flying around the world. Well, what's so special about these holes? These holes are special because of diverse factors, like what lies beneath them. Some are even bottomless. Today, we will look at 10 mysterious holes that leave scientists speechless. If you are curious to know these awe-inspiring holes, watch this video until the end. Number 1. Kabore Hole. At first glance, the Kabore Hole might seem like any other abandoned construction site. However, believe it or not, beneath the abandoned construction site lies the world's deepest hole, and under the debris there is a rusted disc, about the size of a pizza, firmly attached to the ground. This is where Russian scientists made a significant contribution to the world of science in 1970, during intense scientific competition between superpowers when countries were competing to make groundbreaking discoveries in technology, space, and earth science. According to history, Russia embarked on a mission to be the first to reach the Earth's core, and so they started to dig in the Pechengsky district, near the Russian border with Norway on the Kola Peninsula. However, during the process of digging, the scientists made a discovery that forced them to abruptly halt the project and seal the hole, never to reopen it. At this point, you might ask yourself, why did they abandon the project? Well, the reason might chill you to the bones or not, but first, let's look at some facts and details about this Kola hole. The hole, which took 24 years to dig, is 7.5 miles deep, penetrating 1/3 of the Earth's crust. To put it in perspective, the hole's depth is the height of Mount Everest and Mount Fuji placed on top of each other. It's also deeper than the deepest point of the ocean, the Mariana Trench, located in the Pacific Ocean at 36,201 feet, 1134 meters, below sea level. The holes are so deep that it will take 3 minutes of continuous falling for a human to reach the end of it. However, the chance of this happening is very slim, since the hole itself is only deep and not wide. In fact, it is only 23 centimeters wide, roughly the size of a shoe. So, back to the mystery. According to the scientists, the drill that broke through a hollow part of the Earth's crust started to malfunction. They had no choice but to haul it back up. This was when the first bit of mystery hit them. The drill was glowing red hot when they hauled it up. In addition, scientists claimed that they could hear faint screams. To verify what they'd heard and witnessed, they decided to lower a high-tech microphone down the hole, one that could withstand extreme heat. But guess what? It melted in just 17 seconds. As they pulled up the melted mic, a plume of smoke followed, and out of this smoke, a huge bat-like creature emerged with the words, "I have conquered," on its wings. This got the scientists scared out of their wits, and a large part of them fled the field without looking back, leading to the halting of the drilling and the eventual abandonment of the project. Fortunately, before the microphone melted, the scientists could record some spooky and scary sounds. In 1989, more details about this story surfaced. A team member said they weren't drilling for science, but were searching for hell. One would wonder why they wanted to do that. He even claimed that the Russians had accidentally discovered it in Serbia on a different project and wanted to investigate further. Whether that's true or not, we can't be sure. However, from that point, the Kabore Hole has come to be known as the well to hell. Number 2. Mels Hole. The second hole we'll look at today is Mels Hole. This wild mystery surfaced in 1997 when Mel Walters came on the late-night radio talk show Coast to Coast AM. This guy claimed to have a bottomless pit on his property in Washington. Mel said he'd bought the property a few years prior, and the previous owners, who'd been there for over 30 years, knew about the pit. He said the locality residents used the hole like a trash dump. However, regardless of how much dirt was tossed into the hole, it refused to be filled up. The pit was circular, with a stone wall extending about 15 feet down, and beyond that, it was just dark. No sound, No echo, nothing. Even weirder, animals were terrified of it. Mel's dogs, usually obedient, wouldn't go near it. He even shared a story about a neighbor who'd thrown his dead hunting dog into the pit, only to see the same dog a few days later, alive, running through the woods. After seeing all of these phenomena, Mel decided to do some experiments. First, he lowered a roll of lifesaver candy into the pit, and when he pulled it back up, it was still intact. Next, he tried lowering the lead weight. He used over 15 miles of fishing line, and still no bottom. To conclude that, Mel said he speculated that the hole was more than 80,000 feet. His listeners were skeptical. The story sounded too unreal. They suggested various theories and experiments. One even suggested throwing a live cat down the pit to listen to its cries, which the host, Art, rejected. Fast forward to 2002, after some military raids and other alleged happenings and attempts to bury the mystery, Mel came on the show with more updates. A group of Native Americans in Nevada who'd heard his story called and invited him over. They had their own hole, similar to Mel's, but with a metal collar instead of a stone wall. They conducted experiments, including lowering a bucket of ice into the pit. The ice didn't melt, but turned lukewarm and caught fire when they tried to cook it over a fire pit. The ice continued to burn for months. The individuals were not satisfied, so one of them decided that he would enter the hole. However, others persuaded him not to. They then decided to experiment with a sheep. When they tried to get the sheep into the hole, it vigorously fought back. The sheep was just like every other animal that had always refused to go close to the hole. However, they've made up their minds. At this point, you might want to skip this part of the video because what you're about to hear next is really scary and mysterious. So, to get the sheep into the hole, one of them hit it in the eye, and it became dumb. But when it got close to the hole, the sheep regained consciousness and tried to get off. Eventually, they lowered a sheep into the pit. Upon retrieval, the sheep was found lifeless. Its internal organs appeared cooked, while its external body remained unaffected. Furthermore, a tumor was discovered containing a creature resembling a mixture of a fetus and a seal. The creature was alive, and after looking at Mel, it crawled to the edge of the table, dropped to the ground, and voluntarily returned to the hole. Mel claimed that he'd been diagnosed with terminal cancer before his trip to Nevada, but upon returning, his cancer had miraculously vanished. He believed the mysterious creature that crawled out of the dead horse had healed him. Since then, Mel's disappeared from public view, leaving many unanswered questions and many mysteries. However, recently, scientists have denounced the existence or possible existence of Mels Hole. There was no record of anybody called Mel in the location of the so-called hole, and the hole itself is said to have an impossible existence. So, is it all a hoax? A secret military mission? Or a portal to another dimension? Who knows, but it sure makes for an interesting story. Number 3. The Siberia Holes. Now, to the third mysterious hole, or should I say holes. In Siberia, scientists have found not one, not two, but 3 massive holes. The first is 50 to 100 meters wide, with a lake at the bottom. The second hole, miles away from the first, is smaller, about 15 meters wide. The third one is a nearly perfect, cone-shaped hole about 4 meters wide and 60 to 100 meters deep. Now here's where it gets interesting. Unlike the Kabore Hole, no one dug these holes from the surface. They were created by a force inside the earth and exploded outward. Can you imagine the power it would take to do that? With the discovery of these holes, many theories have been floating around about their cause. Some people think it's related to the gas industry in the area, but scientists have dismissed that idea because the holes are too far from any gas lines. Other theories include stray missiles, pranksters, and, of course, theories about the involvement of aliens. While the real cause of the hole might be a little more down to earth than the prospect of alien involvement, it is still a strange phenomenon that has left the sciences speechless. One of the working theories is that these holes are reverse sinkholes. Instead of collapsing in on itself, the idea is that an underground collapse caused these holes due to permafrost melting. The holes then filled with natural gas, and when the pressure got too high, dirt and debris erupt into the air. What's even more interesting about the Siberia Holes is that, according to some locals, these holes aren't even new. Scientists also agree that the growth of vegetation around them indicates that they could have been there for at least a few years. The second hole, located on a peninsula known as the End of the World, was allegedly seen by locals as early as September 2013. However, eyewitness accounts differ, with some saying it was an explosion from the earth and others claiming to have seen something falling from the sky. So, what do you think? Are these holes a natural phenomenon, the result of human activity, or something more extraterrestrial? Let me know in the comments below. Number 4. Dean's Blue Hole. Next, let's talk about Dean's Blue Hole in the Bahamas. It's the deepest blue hole we've found, going down a mind-blowing 202 meters, 663 feet. It's over twice as deep as most other blue holes, which makes it a top spot for professional deep-sea divers. In 2010, William Trubridge dove 101 meters, 331 feet, into the hole without any outside oxygen or gear. Crazy, right? But it's not all fun and games. In 2013, a diver from Brooklyn tragically lost his life trying to beat that record. He was underwater for more than 3.5 minutes, surfaced, and then immediately lost consciousness. The Dean's Blue Hole is so amazing that it hosts an event called Vertical Blue every year, where over 30 divers compete in different freediving events. It's a pretty big deal in the diving community. But here's where the mystery lies. The locals, especially those in Clarencetown and Long Island, tend to steer clear of it. Legend has it that the devil himself dug the hole, and he's still down there, dragging anyone who dares to swim in the hole to their deaths. But for those brave enough to venture into the deep blue, they've discovered an amazing array of sea life. We're talking schools of fish and super-friendly groups of sea turtles. There is no doubt that discoveries are still being made in Dean's Blue Hole as scientists continue to poke around. It is left to see if the locals are right about the mysteriousness of this blue hole, or if they are only scared of what they do not know. Whatever it is, the Dean's Blue Hole continues to be one of the holes in this world that's left the sciences speechless and everyone who knows its existence. Number 5. Mount Baldis Random Holes. One other phenomenon that's similar to the Siberia Holes that we mentioned earlier is Mount Baldis Random Holes. These mysterious sinkholes in the Indiana Dunes National Park were first discovered in 2013, when a 6-year-old boy exploring the dunes went under and was swallowed by a sinkhole that suddenly appeared beneath him. As luck would have it, people were around to notice the strange occurrence. And after 3 hours of digging, the boy was rescued from beneath 3 meters of sand. That's definitely a lot of sand in such a short time. Well, sinkholes are not a strange occurrence in the world, but something that suddenly is definitely going to turn heads and attract attention. And it did. As if that was not enough. From the moment of the discovery of this initial sinkhole, more sinkholes appeared in the area, making geologists baffled as to what could be the cause. Mount Baldis' landscape is made of sand, which doesn't create air pockets. So, none of the conditions necessary for sinkholes to form should be present. Yet, they do occur. And when they do, they only last about a day before they're filled in with surrounding sand. Scientists have tried fruitlessly for years to uncover the secret behind these mysteriously forming and closing sinkholes, but even ground-penetrating radar has yielded no clues. Not only are the sinks still appearing, but they're popping up with such frequency that the park is still off-limits. In an attempt to stabilize the dune, grasses are being planted with the hope that their root system will stop erosion and ground shifting. Some scientists believe that the sand dune's instability may be related to its rather storied history. Mount Baldis, standing 37 meters tall, is the tallest sand dune on the southern shore of Lake Michigan. It's thought to be about 4,500 years old. Unlike many of the dunes surrounding Lake Michigan, which are anchored down by trees and shrubbery, Mount Baldy is a wandering or living dune, able to shift its mass in ways that scientists don't yet fully understand. Number 6. The Black Hole of Andros. Another mysterious hole we'll discuss today is the Black Hole of Andros. This natural phenomenon is on South Andros Island in the Bahamas. It differs from its surroundings in that it is not the same clear, deep blue color as other holes in the area. The Black Hole of Andros is not your typical sinkhole. It's a large, isolated column, about 47 meters deep, formed by chemical erosion. One of the mysteries around this hole that has gotten the sciences baffled is that its depths replicate ocean conditions from billions of years ago. It was first explored by scientist and diver Steffi Schwabe, who was the first to cross through the milky, inky layer of bacteria that a fellow diver described as like swimming through paint. Underneath, she found a thin layer of clear water and then another purple layer that she described as looking like jelly. At about 18 meters down, there's a 1 meter thick, dark purple layer of toxic bacteria containing high concentrations of hydrogen sulfide. This part of the hole is so dark that it looks like the hole's floor, but it's actually a boundary separating oxygenated water from oxygen-free water below it. And this oxygen-free water is the part that has similar properties to water found in the oceans 3.5 billion years ago. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds dangerous, and you'd be right. It's a low-visibility dive with harmful, toxic layers of water, and access is restricted because of these unique conditions and scientific interests. Scientists believed studying this black hole could give us insights into the early Earth's conditions. The Black Hole of Andros is part of a larger phenomenon of black holes only known in Andros and Grand Bahama Islands in the Bahamas. These round, black lakes are unique, unprecedented natural formations. These black holes are located in shallow, muddy flats. The layer of carbonate mud can be several meters deep, making these places unreachable by foot or boat. The area can only be explored by special tools like helicopters. Low-lying mudflats have inundated areas with shallow seawater and rainwater poodles, bays, and lakes. The Black Hole of Andros is not just a hole, but a possible window into our planet's past. It's a testament to the wonders of nature and the mysteries it still holds for us to discover. Isn't that just mind-blowing? Number 7. Door to Hell. Next on our list of mysterious holes is the giant crater that has been burning for years. Located in Turkmenistan, the Door to Hell has filled every beholder with awe. While it is not your typical tourist destination, it is still a site that holds many people captivated. The Door to Hell is a fiery spectacle approximately 69 meters wide and 30 meters deep. Its perpetual flames and mesmerizing glow have made it a sight to behold. While it's not a traditional hole, its presence on Earth has piqued the curiosity of many and sparked scientific interest in studying its gas emissions. You might wonder what's so mysterious about this hole. The simple answer is that this giant crater has been burning non-stop since 1971. Yes, you heard right. The Door to Hell, also known as the Darvaza gas crater, is a unique geological phenomenon. The crater resulted from a failed drilling operation in 1971. Hundreds of natural gas fires illuminate the floor and rim of the crater. The history of the crater is shrouded in mystery. Some local geologists claim that the collapse that formed a crater happened in the 1960s and was only lit in the 1980s. Others assert that the site was drilled by Soviet engineers in 1971 as an oil field, but collapsed within days. forming a crater. Whatever the truth is, the fact remains that a crater was formed and resulted in a hole that's been burning non-stop for over 50 years. It is filled with natural gas that continues to burn, creating flames that can be seen from miles away. The flames are most intense at night when they light up the desert sky and create an otherworldly atmosphere. Despite the attempts to extinguish the fire, the crater remains open and burning. The president of Turkmenistan, Gurbanguly Berdimuhamedov, has expressed his intentions to extinguish the crater due to its adverse effects on local health, the environment, and the natural gas industry. However, while we await the realization of this plan, the crater continues to burn bright. The door to hell has become a major tourist attraction in post-Soviet Turkmenistan. A crude road without signage runs out to the crater, and yurts have been set up nearby. In 2018, the gas crater was used as an overnight stop in the Amul Hazar automobile rally. So if you're one for mystery, you will agree that the door to hell is an interesting phenomenon. It will be a kicker to see how scientists can turn off this light and stop it from continuously burning. Number 8. The Dead Sea Holes. The Dead Sea is a unique body of water that has been reportedly drying up for years, and it has recently been reported that this sea has finally dried up. However, one amazing and mysterious phenomenon that accompanied the drying up of the Dead Sea is the appearance of sinkholes. No one knows the exact number of sinkholes that have appeared in the Dead Sea, but it's estimated that around 2,500 have formed since 1970, with 1,000 appearing in the last 15 years alone. These sinkholes, like those in Siberia, are signs of environmental change. The Dead Sea is fed by the Jordan River, and each year, less water flows into it. The sea itself is now almost totally dried out, finally living up to its name, Dead Sea. This draining of the lake is causing sinkholes and leading to the demise of resorts and hotels that were once lakeside, but now stand miles from the shore. According to scientists, as the salty water of the lake recedes through the ground, fresh water advances to meet it. When this fresh water, with its high salt content, is introduced into the ground, much of the salt dissolves, weakening the ground and causing it to collapse, forming sinkholes. The Dead Sea has always been in a state of change. It was once connected to the Sea of Galilee, but that connection dried up about 18,000 years ago. Now, changes are more often man-made. The water that once flowed into it to maintain its delicate balance is being siphoned away and rerouted throughout Jordan and Syria. This means it only gets about 10% of the water it needs to maintain its size. At one time, the sea was a hugely popular destination for those making religious pilgrimages or hoping to be healed by its mystical waters. Now, the warning signs cautioning the dangers of spontaneously appearing sinkholes are a more frequent sight. The sinkholes can reach a diameter of 40 meters and go as deep as 25 meters. Occasionally, two or more adjacent sinkholes combine to form one huge sinkhole. Human activities such as diverting water from the Jordan River, which supplies the Dead Sea, and extracting minerals from its southern shores have triggered the formation of these sinkholes. The Dead Sea's surface has been receding by 1 meter per year due to these actions, leading to its current dried-up state. The future occurrence of sinkholes as a result of water depletion remains uncertain and will only be determined over time. Number 9. The Great Blue Hole. This Great Blue Hole is a massive underwater sinkhole off the coast of Baldis that travels 125 meters into the Earth's crust. This natural wonder has been a regular location for scuba divers and snorkelers for years, but its depths remained largely unexplored until recently. In the winter of 2018, a crew of divers from Aquatica submarines embarked on an epic journey to the bottom of the Blue Hole. Their mission for touring the Great Blue Hole was to create a 3D map of the sinkhole's interior. But along the way, they discovered much more than they had anticipated. As they descended, they encountered the usual marine life: reef sharks, turtles, and giant corals. But as they ventured deeper, around 90 meters down, life began to disappear. The reason? A thick layer of toxic hydrogen sulfide spans the width of the entire sinkhole like a floating blanket. If this phenomenon sounds vaguely familiar, we mentioned something like that when discussing Dean's blue hole. Beneath this floating blanket, there was no oxygen, no life, just conchs, conch shells, and lifeless hermit crabs that had fallen into the hole and suffocated. As they proceeded even deeper, at around 120 meters, the team stumbled upon something unexpected: small stalactites. These formations, which can only form when water drips down stone, suggested that the blue hole was once a large, dry cave teeming with life. This discovery provided valuable insights into the hole's ancient past. As the scientists dug their hole, they found a light layer of silt on top of the conch graveyard. This silt records the different hurricanes, storm cycles, and glaciations that have occurred over time. Interestingly, the scientists noted that around the time of the Mayan collapse, there were massive storm cycles followed by significant droughts, which means this hole might have existed during the Mayans' time. At the bottom of the hole, they found a 2-liter Coke bottle and a lost GoPro containing some vacation photos. They even encountered the remains of 2 of the probable 3 people who had been lost in the blue hole. These discoveries made by these scientists pointed to the fact that the hole must have been a residence on land from over 13,000 years ago before it got swallowed by water, and that it might hold more insights into the life of past inhabitants of the Earth. However, scientists predict that the Great Blue Hole won't be around forever to explore. Sand falls into it like an underwater hourglass every day, slowly filling it up. But for now, we can still admire its beauty and study its many mysteries. Number 10. The Sawmill Sink. Last but not least, in our exploration of mysterious holes today, we found the Sawmill Sink in the Bahamas. This sinkhole is not just any blue hole, it carries a significant scientific implication. This blue hole was the location of an archaeological dig that has reshaped our understanding of what the landscape looked like a millennium ago. What makes the Sawmill Sink unique is its history. Like many other blue holes, it was once dry, but as water levels rose, it gradually filled up. This process preserved the bones that were hidden there. The fossils discovered include the remains of a giant tortoise, which scientists didn't even believe existed in the area. This discovery left the scientists speechless. In addition, there were also birds, seeds, flowers, and even the remains of plants that still had their green coloring and chlorophyll preserved. Of all these discoveries, the most interesting might be the discovery of the remains of giant crocodiles. Researchers believe these creatures were killed off by the people living in the area at the time. The Sawmill Sink also held the remains of one of the earliest known residents of the Bahamas, estimated to be about 1,050 years old. It is located near Marsh Harbor and is a treasure trove of history. It helps explain what the Bahamas was like before the arrival of humans. No other blue hole has produced the quantity or quality of fossils as Sawmill Sink. Over the past 4 decades, the Sawmill Sink has been a site of interest for many researchers. It's hidden in the pine forest of South Abaco and is classified as an inland or ocean cave. You can swim in it, and it was even featured in National Geographic in August 2010. It contains underwater caves that range from 80 to 300 feet below the surface and continues to offer more fascinating discoveries to scientists. With this, we have 10 of the most mysterious holes on Earth. Will there be more to be discovered? Or do you know of some we might have missed on our list? Put them down in the comment section. Thanks for watching another episode of Beyond Discovery. While you're still here, check out the other videos you see on your screen.